course, there's not a lot of news in December because most of the stuff has been announced, but there still is stuff happening.
What do you got?
Just in case you wondered, there is another version of Flux across America.
This is what I'm talking about. Yes.
Tell you what,
Chrysler's about to sue you, suckers.
Is that a Chrysler?
It sure looks like it.
I'm going to sue somebody because they stole my vanity plate there. That's what my license plate is.
Love Flux?
Love Flux.
I thought it was I Love Flux, but...
They didn't have that one available. That one was already gone, so I had to go with my second choice.
You speak of Chrysler, but I saw a little meme that shows all the SUVs that are from the different companies, and they're like, there's no ingenuity in America because they all look pretty much the same.
Oh, yeah.
The SUVs,
Absolutely.
I don't even know what I own.
Well,
that's not a thing, no. Like, someone's like, what kind of car do you have? I'm like, black.
Yeah, I think it's a Honda.
I believe that, though.
Is it a Honda, you think?
I think yours is a Honda.
How many tires does your vehicle have?
5, 4 on it, and 1 in the trunk.
Okay. There you go.
Are there more wheels or doors? Okay, so anywho.
No, not that.
Hey, we got that game.
There's a game?
How about counting wheels? It's called Wheels versus Doors, How America Gets It Done. You never heard of it?
This is true?
No, of course not.
It is Wheels versus Doors or something like that. And
Wait,
also,
what? I was kidding about that.
It's basically like, hey, this is a meme that came out 4 months ago. We're too late, but please buy our game.
Right, yeah. It's like, what do you
I don't
mean?
know what
All
that
right,
is. Okay, anyway, this looks like Flux.
Yes. You're traveling across Route 66. There are now 40 versions of Flux.
Wow.
This will be out March 3rd. All right, more interesting than that, and I mean, it's six greetings cards games. So this is, you can send someone a card that has the rules on the reverse, the game board on the front, and on the back half, you cut out the components for the game.
Oh.
So this company, this Dark Imp publisher, they did those Christmas cracker games. You remember that? We talked about that.
Oh, my word, yes. I forgot
It's the
about
same
those.
company,
We never got those, right?
Christmas
I don't think
crackers?
So. I had never heard of them either. When we talked about it, I want to say it was about this time last year.
We should get some Christmas crackers.
Christmas cracker, I guess, is a thing in a lot of cultures. Maybe some, I guess, in America. I'd never heard of it.
It's very British.
Yeah, I think it's a British thing where it's like a packaging, and you crack it open, and it's got little toys and doodads and such in it. And I guess they did like a Christmas cracker games.
It's like a Kinder Egg without the chocolate.
There you go. Yeah, without the good stuff.
Sounds terrible.
I think, doesn't it make a noise when you...
I think it's supposed
to. Don't we both pull it?
Maybe that's what it is. You pull it on it, each end, and it cracks or something along those lines.
Okay.
Ebenezer Scrooge used one.
He did?
Once he started loving Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't finished it yet. What? I thought he was a grouch.
This is an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, let's say someone gave these to me and said, give them out to people. And I would sit there and go, who would I give these to?
Who do I hate?
People in your game group, it would have to be like that, right? I mean, like this is supposedly like a programming game. I guess they've got different types.
But I wouldn't want one of these.
No.
The cutting, I mean, no. I like the idea of a game on a postcard. Sure, that's cute. The rules on the one side, the board on the other. The cutting out the components, that's where you lose me. I'm sorry, no. No, that sounds terrible. That sounds like a lot of work.
I'd almost rather it be a roll and write, frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you tell me provide 2 dice or something and a pen,
right.
I can do that.
Sure.
Cut out a bunch of cardboard squares? No.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Would you prefer getting this as a card or one that had a very obnoxious song that played on repeat when you open it?
I'd rather get that.
Really?
The song card, yeah.
I actually like the obnoxious song.
Do you?
ones.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Because you can close. Now, there's one I saw that you open it and it starts playing and it doesn't go off.
It doesn't go off.
And then the thing's inside. So then when you rip it open to get it, it's full of glitter.
Yeah.
That is just so mean.
Yeah, when you open it, it breaks something and it doesn't.
Right, it won't go turn off until you open it, and then it glitter bombs you. Yeah.
Don't do that to people. That's jerky. Well, I mean, you can do it to some people, I suppose.
Whoever you would give this to.
By the way, there's a card on your desk.
Oh, here we go.
All
It's
right.
the gift that keeps on
And
giving.
the beautiful cover category, we have Fighters of the Pacific. This is from Ares Games. And I find this amusing because this is actually their second air game. Their Wings of War.
That's true, right?
Is what they're known for. But Wings of War is about flying airplanes. They're cards. If you've never heard of Wings of War, it's actually the precursor for sure of X-Wing.
Yes.
Yes.
Except they used cards at first, then it moved to miniatures, but you would play cards to show movement. This doesn't do any of that. This has hexes.
Okay.
And you have a whole fleet, multiple squadrons here where you're dominating the thing.
I do like that cover.
It
It's
sounds
an old
like
timey cover, actually, right? Isn't it
Yeah.
like a very?
yeah, but it's pretty.
It's a very '90s at Toys R Us kind of cover. I don't know.
Yeah, it is
There's something-
nostalgic.
There's something about it. Yeah.
I'm hoping from the description, it almost sounds like a Memoir 44 with
Okay.
planes.
Okay, with like the flanks and okay.
Well, no. I'm not
Very
saying
broadly.
that. I'm just saying generalizing because they're like you fly around here. There's 10 scenarios. When you're playing, when someone gets in your sights, you shoot them.
Okay.
So it sounds like it's a simplistic with a bunch of planes all over the board. That's not often done. Usually,
No.
most plane games you control 1 or 2 planes, and it's very tactical, and you play 15 seconds over the
Elevations
course
and
of
all-
2.5 hours.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
that's a lot.
All right, Pocket Paragons. I believe these guys were at PAX.
Seen this.
They must
stuff.
have been at PAX.
Is some of that here, maybe?
I know I've seen some of it. It's
We've
either
not played this yet. I know that you have a character. It's like a really small game. Mm-hmm. There's a character with 7 cards. You reveal them. Different things happen. And so there's a few new ones coming out here.
these look like they're licensed.
Space Lion and then Acquisitions Incorporated.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 main characters, I think, from Acquisitions Incorporated.
Okay.
Okay, right. But Pocket Paragons is like a little micro game, just a small game in your pocket kind of thing.
You know, I saw it at PAX and I was thinking, you know what, we need to get around to playing this. I think it's in our studio.
think
That's
it's
what I
here.
thought too. I
Yeah.
think I've seen them.
What I have not seen in our studio is Scrabble Trap Tiles.
Ooh, yeah.
Look on your desk.
What? All right. So, did you think Scrabble was boring?
Yeah.
Would you like trap tiles involved in it?
For the sake of this argument.
Anyway,
yeah.
it's a Scrabble and Stratego crossover.
There you go.
You can put traps on special spaces, and if you put a word on that space, it will let someone steal points or remove. It sounds awful.
It does not
So,
sound
like, there's a tile there, and he's like, I found a set. There's a 40-point word, and I'm like, nah, fool. Your word just blew up.
Are you kidding me? There's bombs and traps and what?
Oh,
High traps on premium squares to sabotage your opponents.
I'm assuming there's bluff ones, and you're never
I would
sure
think so, right.
where anything is.
So you're hesitating.
And also,
to put
come
a-
on now.
To put a word down over a triple.
I like
word
that kind of
score.
game,
Yeah.
but I don't want it mixed with Scrabble.
No. Can you imagine taking this to like a Scrabble tournament?
That'd be great.
Like,
Yes.
all right, everybody, buckle up.
I'm gonna play this with my grandparents. They're like,
Yeah, and they're like,
sorry,
oh.
Grandma. She grabs the cane. Bomb.
They've
And
got.
yeah, I can say that now because my grandfather.
That's right. They're going to pick up their lazy Susans and leave. Is what they're going to do.
All right. Very similar. Our next piece of news: the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The game.
Yeah. Two sides of the same coin.
This is from Trick or Treat Studios, from Scott Rogers. This is coming out March 31st, just in time for Halloween.
Yeah.
Um,
They had an early version of this at Gen Con, I want
They
to
did.
say. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they
Oh,
had
I
like a
haven't seen
prototype
this.
version. I like a lot of what Trick or Treat is doing.
Yeah.
Both their kind of reissues of classic games, Knizia and Fi Duty, and now, newer titles too.
It's a cooperative game where you're trying to escape from this lovely family who just wants to invite you over for dinner.
Sure.
And it's a push your luck where you're pulling tokens from a bag to get actions, but to pull too many actions, and the Slaughter family comes after you. Is that their name, the Slaughter
I
family?
think it might be. It's interesting because there was a.
I've never seen them. I've only seen bits and pieces. This is the genre of horror I hate.
Sure, yeah. I definitely saw it. It's a classic, slasher movie type of a thing. Anyway, horror movie. There was a Friday the 13th game that was out within the last couple of years. It was also a push your luck bag building game.
That's different. That's the one. I know which one you're talking about. That's from the Op, actually.
Op, yeah.
And that one was based on that Snow White and Seven
That's
Dwarfs
right. That
game
was
from the guy who designed Sheriff of Nottingham.
That's right. It was a retheme,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Right.
This looks to be a very different game. I'm just
That
saying
one
it's
is not so
interesting.
horrific. It's more like, if I don't run back to camp, I'll lose my tokens because I got chased in the woods, so I dropped all my points,
Right.
which is not as horrific as,
for
like,
sure.
say,
I don't like
dying.
dropping my points. I know there's also that American Psycho or whatever Psycho game.
Trick-taking game.
Is that what that is?
trick-taking.
Okay.
That's from Renegade, yeah.
Yeah.
Horror's in right
It's
now.
in.
It's in.
You know what else is in? Expansions. We have an
Yes.
expansion for Oath.
Oh, interesting.
Just early details. Yeah, like no release date, no.
Yeah.
But some
Okay.
interest,
Okay.
It's going to be is it a Kickstarter for this expansion?
I would not be surprised if they kickstarted it. I mean, that's what they did for the base game. Apparently this is going to, change a little bit because in Oath, at the end of every game, someone is the Chancellor. The winner becomes the Chancellor. And I guess it's kind of legacy-ish in that the person who was Chancellor in the game before will start the next game as the Chancellor. And this is basically going to be, I guess, changing what happens for the people that were not the Chancellor, for the people that were the citizens or the exiles. And it also has something that they're fond of doing at Leader is like a whole replacement deck. Like they've done this for Oath, or for Root too, where it's like, just switch out the whole deck and it would be a little bit more wild, that kind of thing.
I like the switching out the whole deck. They did that in Deus.
Yeah.
You know,
yes.
It makes it easier to incorporate.
It really does. You're like, we're playing with this deck. We're done. Put this deck back instead of sorting the cards out.
Yeah.
The only thing I wonder about this one is Oath got very stellar reviews for the most part, except most people were like, this is a very interesting, cool game, but I don't see people playing it or talking about it now.
Yeah. As horrible as it sounds.
This is a play-at-home game.
Right. As horrible as it sounds, like, this is something that I do not want to try to teach at a convention.
No,
right?
no.
It's just like, it's not that type of a game. You want to have a dedicated group of people that want to play this over, a period of time.
Yeah, it's you said legacy-esque. It's more campaign-like,
it is,
really.
right,
I mean, it's
because
a game that has a memory a little bit.
Right. You can have people drop in and drop out and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah.
All right, you want to play test the newest Space Base expansion, which is going to be called Genesis. You can go to Board Game Geek, download it, print and play it. How convenient is that?
This is interesting, though, that a major publisher, is saying, hey, here you go. This is our upcoming expansion that we're going to release. You can play it right now.
And I'm assuming you're meant to give them back feedback and whatnot.
I would imagine
they're not really. I mean, they're putting it out. You can just download and play. You don't have to sign up for feedback.
No, I don't think so.
Whereas normally, if you are downloading a beta for something or whatever, you're meant to, like, here's my information. I will write to you and tell you what I thought. You can just do it.
This is on Board Game Geek. It's freely accessible to anybody who has an account at Board Game Geek.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And a well-established game, right? How many expansions does Space Base have already?
It's only couple, 2, right?
Oh, only 2. Okay.
There's 2 expansions and a big box, which doesn't really count.
Okay.
And then there's a lot of promos. All right, so they teased big news for Gloomhaven at PAX, and the news was an RPG, which to some people I think was, if you're a board gamer, you might sit there and go, meh, which is exactly what I did. I certainly understand why. Gloomhaven has a very, very unique world. It's not generic fantasy at all. Like, you can't compare these people to anyone. So I talked to the marketing director about it a little bit, and he told me that, hey, anybody can play this. It's going to use a similar card system to Gloomhaven, where you put cards together. And he's like, so if you like that board game combat, you can play that way. Or if you just want to sit back and just play. And I'm having a hard time in my mind seeing how those two things work together. So like if Zee's sitting there playing cards carefully, and I'm like, I just kicked the door in.
Right.
There's like that's a disparity between those two styles.
Yeah.
So the impression you got was that this was a proprietary system. It's not based off of a pre-existing RPG engine or anything. It's
it's a proprietary system.
Wow.
I forget who the designers are. They said who they were. It's coming to Backer Kit.
Okay.
And you'll be able to combine classes from Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, and Jaws of the Lion with stuff. So you can, instead of having, it says you can have a Vermling Brute now if you want to. I don't know. It's cross-compatible with the board games. I don't know what that means. And this is obviously going to make the upcoming miniatures.
That's true. That's a
even
very good
bigger.
Point. That's a good
And the cynical part of my brain goes, that's
right.
why, right?
Sure.
Because one is going to sell the. I mean, if you want to play a good RPG, you usually want some miniatures.
Right.
And now they're making miniatures for every monster. Why would you not jump on board?
And this is clearly full circle, right? I mean, Gloomhaven was basically billed as, here's a board game for RPG lovers.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so now here's an RPG for lovers of
I'm
Gloomhaven.
wondering if this is all part of the same campaign. Because it says the upcoming Miniatures of Gloomhaven campaign will have 500 miniatures, which is going to be crazy huge. I'll go on the record and say this might break the record on Kickstarter. It could. 500 miniatures, it's not going to be cheap.
It would break their own record, right? Isn't Frosthaven
13 million. Well, for games, yes.
Yeah.
But it says the Gloomhaven RPG, Miniatures of Gloomhaven, and a second printing of Frosthaven will be coming to Backer Kit in April 2023. If they combine those three, they will have the biggest Kickstarter of all time.
It almost has to be, right? Yeah. That's amazing.
All right. Well, it's a good time to be cephalofair.
No kidding.
All right, My Lil Everdell. This was announced and released on Friday. Very rarely do companies do stealth releases. It's happened just a couple times over the past couple years. I remember it happened with that video game.
Fantasy Flight used to do it a little bit.
Fantasy Flight would do it occasionally. Clank in Space, it happened with Renegade. And what was last year what's that video game where you play and you go around and do stuff? And
Oh, you mean Stardew Valley?
Stardew Valley was announced and released.
That's true.
Basically.
Yes, correct.
That is true.
They were like, you can buy it
today,
right now.
Right, yeah, that was
right.
true. That's true. That's
So
a good
this is the
point.
same thing. Without spoiling my review of this, which will come eventually, I will say that I think it's incorrectly named. Keep that in mind. It's called My Lil Everdell, and it really should be called Everdell Express. Because it's a really fast, streamlined version of Everdell. It says 6+ on the box. Sure, that's not true. Okay, it's definitely, there's more going on than the vast majority of 6-year-olds. Not yours, of course, because yours plays Twilight Struggle with you.
Yours plays Lisboa,
but
yeah, it's a smaller box. Not as deep as Everdell, but it's about the same size. And I just got done putting together my Everdell complete package, and I'm like, boy.
So speaking
Do I
of
really
that,
want,
you might sit there and go, I don't need this because I have Everdell. But guess what they did? They put some promo cards for Everdell in there, forcing you to buy it.
I guess I need to get my little Everdell.
All right. We're always very nervous when companies are going to reprint a game, especially a game that's so well renowned as Mystery of the Abbey. But that cover is amazing.
That is a stunning cover.
Now,
I just noticed that there's a person in the background there. Like the cloud is kind of like the head of an old, guy at the Abbey. The castle, the colors, man.
Z and I got some hot tips, insider information, Tom, at
My word, what was that? I don't want your hot tips.
At Essen. We talked about this before, I think, actually. We got a little bit of a sneak
We excluded you the first time.
We saw it. We got an early look at the board. I don't think it's finalized.
Right.
Let me just say that this cover is not the only gorgeous looking thing about this game. It looks like they're going to knock the
I was nervous because they did Cleopatra.
Right.
And I thought there was some mistakes made on that production.
100% agreed.
Now, we haven't got the lost code yet. I backed it on Kickstarter. That has not yet come.
There were some
I also
issues
backed
there,
it,
too.
and it hasn't come yet. Though they were selling them at Essen.
Let's hope that they get some of their production things worked out, because I think the look in all of the games have been great. There have been some production issues.
I think if they can rein themselves in a bit,
right.
That's really what it is.
It's almost too ambitious sometimes.
Yeah, you can. There are things you don't need to do to make a game feel deluxe.
Right.
You figure that out, you're going to have a hit here on your hands. Mystery of the Abbey, it's nice to see this one come back into print, which is interesting that these guys are reprinting all these old
Days of Wonder.
French designers, Days of Wonder games.
That's
It's like, what's going on? Cargo Noir, I bet, is next, by the way. You heard it here first.
Well, you right. Okay, so side note here. You said yesterday a repairman, the guy came to clean our filters in our water.
Yeah, water tank or maintenance person, yeah.
His favorite game was Cargo Noir.
Well, he didn't say specifically it was his favorite game, but he was like, this was a game that he has been looking for. He's like, oh, you do board games here? And I said, yeah, because he walked through our library, clearly. And he was like, there's this game that I've been hunting down for, have you ever heard of Cargo Noir? And I'm like, oh, wow, that's a deep cut.
That's not what you're expecting to hear.
No, he asked about Cargo Noir and Merchants and Marauders. So clearly, somebody who does,
okay,
like
those are not games you would have seen at Target.
No, clearly, yeah. So Cargo Noir, and then what? Mystery Express will be the next one they do. And
maybe. All right, Vasel's 10th law says that when a company says this is never coming to America in English, they're lying. Because
this makes me
every time it's been said, oh, you'll never see Poland 6.5 math for Ticket to Ride. We changed your mind.
Liars.
Actually, Ticket to Ride did it twice because they're like the Nordic countries. They're like not coming to America ever. Okay, fine.
I've had this version of El Dorado in an online cart 3 separate times, and it may be more, but at least 3 separate times where I almost clicked the button and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Because you're paying a premium. I love this game. It's one of my favorite games. And this Dutrade art is, like everything that he does, is stunning. And so I guess Ravensburger was not going to do it.
This is great. So if you want to know why you're getting this game, it's because Reiner Knizia decided.
Yes, absolutely.
He says here, I love his quote, Ravensburger did not want to cover the other territories, which meant I had all the other territories to cover myself. The game is too close to my heart, and if they didn't want to cover it, then I wanted to do it myself.
Yeah, like he reached out to Vincent Dutrait. He arranged this whole thing apparently with the not North American.
All right, so here's my confusion.
Okay.
So there are currently in English the ones you can buy.
Yeah.
There are 2 versions of Quest for El Dorado. They're
Yes.
compatible with each other.
What do you mean
They're
two
different
versions?
size
There's
cards.
2 games.
Wait,
what are you talking about? There's Quest for El Dorado.
Right.
There's an expansion, something in hexes or whatever.
Heroes
Heroes in
in
hexes. And then there was another game which was both standalone
And compatible.
and compatible.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I got you.
You can mix them
got
together,
it.
standalone
Yeah.
games, but
Right.
you can standalone expansion.
Sure.
We have both of them in the library.
Right.
I don't have any expansions, but I'm curious, what does this cover between them? Is that everything here?
That's base game at the top.
Yep.
Heroes and Hexes was an expansion that existed, and I think Dangers and something there is brand new.
It is
Music.
new. Yeah, it is new.
Muska. I don't know.
Yeah, so I guess all of them are now coming through. Well, the base game for sure is coming through Ravensburger. I don't know if they've decided if they're going to be picking up both
Here
expansions
we
as
go.
well. But
Here we go.
look, if the good doctor wants it to happen, it looks
It's
like
gonna
it's gonna
happen, okay?
right?
Also, there's a bonus Viking seesaw in the base game
All right.
with Vincent Dutrait artwork on the ship.
Oh.
Do you like cats, quilts, and the game Calico? Because there's a game coming out to Steam called Quilts and Cats of Calico, and as far as I can tell looking at it, it's Calico.
It's Calico, yeah. I think we were speculating yesterday, why didn't they just call it Calico? I'm wondering if there's already a pre-existing game on Steam called Calico.
That could
so,
be.
They went with this. But I don't know if it says in there, it's the same developers of another.
Oh,
maybe
Wingspan.
Wingspan, which
I was a little confused here because they said, following the enthusiastically received Wingspan, over 90% positive reviews on Steam, and I was thinking, I didn't think Wingspan was that well received. I thought it was received okay, but I might be wrong.
It's a good-looking
it's
app.
good. It's very well made.
It's a very good-looking app.
Okay,
yeah.
well, this looks amazing in the trailer. You can't see in this picture here, but the board looks like a quilt on the. I don't know how to explain it. It
really
just looks
does.
like that. It has a quilt texture. It's really cool.
The cats walk around and lay down on it. It's pretty cute. It really is. And this is a game that is very well suited, I think, to an app because it's a straight puzzle game, right? So I think this one will do very
when you
well.
finish something, it zing. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't have to count the scoring anymore.
Exactly.
Yay.
Right. I'm sure it'll tell you which things are, valid spots and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay.
All right, news I don't care about even a little bit this week. We have Terraforming Mars is getting a screen adaptation.
Well, it got optioned for a screen adaptation.
Who cares? Like,
Somebody cares.
Somebody, I guess, yeah.
but what does this even mean? Terraforming Mars has no narrative. The only thing is, I was telling the guys, I hope that this is, when they do make the movie, that all the different scenes are done in a different style with different
Different art
actors and
style.
stuff.
Got
Yeah.
it, got it.
So that it
would
matches
be
the
good.
game, right?
Yes. I like
Yeah,
it.
this happens a lot where something that is popular and someone, a bigwig, thinks it might become more popular to buy the rights to an adaptation now and sit on it.
Yeah.
They'll have it for a few years. There's probably some clause about it reverting back in like 5 years if they don't make something with it. And you speculate on that, right? So you're like, oh, this seems neat. It seems like they're going to continue pushing that thing. I'm scooping up the rights. I'm going to hang on to those. And maybe in a few years, if this becomes really big, I'll make the rights or I'll sell them to someone for much more.
Right.
And then they can have the rights, which is part of the reason why they made all those Fantastic Four movies was to not lose the rights. I don't know if you knew that.
I did know that.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's what this is. This is fully speculation.
100%.
So
It's just the why is there any reason to get excited about it? It's like, I can't wait to see what. Literally, it's just Mars.
Well, but
There's
that's the thing. I mean, I guess that's where I'm coming from is that I equally do not care what. I also just noticed that the filigree on that slide goes perfectly into that comment.
Yes, it does.
The as much as I don't care, also, if you're gonna option something, a Mars story could be good, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's not. At least it's like, no, The Martian was
Thanks,
popular.
much
You
better.
made it exactly right. Now I can't unsee that, but. Whatever. If they make a good Mars story, I'm fine. I don't care.
Sure,
if
but
it's
they could
Terraforming
just announce
right.
making some new Mars movie,
Yeah,
living
I
on
guess.
Mars, and I'd be like, okay. And even then, I wouldn't be that excited
Right.
about it. I want to know what the plot is. And
Yeah.
there's been several Terraforming Mars movies.
Right.
They came. There was two at the same time. Remember the Red Planet?
Yeah, and
What was the other one?
Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars, right. And
All I
they
have
were
to
both boring.
Right. All I have to say
I like
is
both
this.
of those movies.
Terraforming Mars.
You like Waterworld.
Starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It's going to happen.
Okay.
Oh,
It's going to happen.
Well, like someone
yes.
said in the chat, that would be Terraforming Mars.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
See, now that I would watch.
Okay, I'm into
That
it.
and Cocaine Bear.
There was a terror. There was a terror
Have you seen
Mars
the Cocaine Bear
movie.
trailer yet?
I haven't. I've not been able to click the button. I've seen it. I've seen the poster.
You are
I'm
the
like,
only person Dice Tower has not seen it yet, so you need to get.
Yeah, there
on
was a
that.
terror
will.
Mars movie called The Last Days of Mars or something like that, or The Last Days on Mars,
I don't remember that.
which was a horror on Mars thing.
Okay.
I like Mars themed movies more than I should. I like both the ones you said. I like that horror one. The Martian is one of my favorite movies.
Martian's
That's a
good,
good
yeah.
movie though.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's a good
yeah,
book.
that one I like. I don't think that one's boring because that one feels like it could be happening. The other
So
two,
could the Red Planet.
really? Have you seen that movie? Okay. Anyhow,
It's great.
all right. And then our last piece of news is an expansion for Iki here, Akabono. I'm probably mispronouncing that.
I do love that cover.
So this is an expansion coming in mid-2023. There's a new location, which is going to add a bridge. You can stop at the bridge to meet famous personalities from the Edo era, and you can trade with the ships there. And then there's also, that's one of the, I guess there's also new character cards, building cards, and new tokens. New tokens. Oh, I see. There's the new pipe tokens that will change. The other cards are interesting. If they have more character cards, I'm good with that.
Sure.
I like Iki a lot.
My favorite thing about this cover is that it's from the publisher Sorry We Are French, and I'm assuming that that's the Japanese version of Sorry We Are French in the lower left there.
Oh, yeah. I bet that's what
I'm
I
it
want to
assuming
know
is.
how
that's
that
what that is,
translates,
but
though.
that
Like,
would
what the
be-
literal translation
I hope I'm
is.
right with that, and if so, that makes me very happy.
Alrighty, folks. That is the news.